What's poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
Thanks for having me here today, Ben. Recording a soda pop.
A soda pop?
Yeah, you see what I did there?
Oh my gosh.
We're recording a soda pop.
It's a soda pop.
It's a soda pop.
New headcanon. New headcanon. Well,
I know.
Welcome to today's soda pop.
Welcome to today's soda pop.
Oh, it's so good.
It works so flawlessly.
We have to, yeah, this is just it now. This is
Yeah.
just it. We just added to the popcorn culture vernacular.
Yeah, to the lexicon. Is that the right word?
Maybe it's the lexicon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
People listening, they'll be like, do you call it like pop or soda? And you're like, it's really a soda pop.
It's really a soda pop.
Right.
That's
It really
what
has
is.
nothing to do with canned beverages and everything to do with my favorite podcast, which brings me to I'm element of surprise, Ben.
Goodness.
I'm gonna read the review right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate?
Right out of the gate. We're front loading the review.
Okay.
As we're talking about
the new,
favorite, yeah.
Yeah. This is a very meta episode so far.
We're hyper aware. If you're here for episode 93, you get it. You know we have no structure.
No, none whatsoever. So,
Okay.
But why? Yeah, tell me. Just go ahead and read me the review.
I'm just gonna read you the review. Well, because we're also now that we're talking about, we've got like some puns going.
Yeah.
We've got some corny jokes. We're talking about everyone's favorite pop cast. This one. So it felt like the review was time because I know what the review is.
Oh, okay.
And it ties in all of those things.
You prepared. Wow.
Are you ready? All right. This is from reviewer JR645, 5-star review. They said, fabulous. And then they proceeded to retell one of the best jokes ever told on the pop. My favorite, why did the chicken cross the road? This is the rest of the review. It said, why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. No, to get to the idiot's house. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
The chicken.
It is
My
pure
favorite.
It is pure savage.
It is savage.
It is.
Oh no.
The chicken.
So people are like, wait, I don't get it. Oh, exactly.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Coincidentally, probably I think Nick's first word.
Really?
Every day, like he'll knock stuff off his high chair and then he'll look down and go, uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
Adorable. Anyway, that's not the end of the review. They say, I swear I have not stopped telling people this joke. These are the type of things you get to listen to in this wonderful popcast. It is something I always look forward to every week. Ben and Jay's chemistry is always on point. Thank you, JR645.
Hey, yeah, thank you so much, Air645.
Yeah.
Which actually brings me very, very immediately into one of the topics that I wanted to bring up today. This hails back to one of my tactics for coming up with things to talk about on the pop.
Yeah.
Which is literally going back to year one Super Carlin Brothers video ideas that I have stored in my notes.
Yeah.
And I remember that this was such a thing in the early days of Super Carlin Brothers, like when we were still probably first 3, 4, 5 months of doing it. We had maybe somewhere between 100 and 200 subscribers on YouTube. So it was like, it was smaller. And it was basically the metric as to how you and I each morning when we woke up, because we were living together, would almost like determine the quality of a video. Do you remember doing this?
I do. Yeah. Basically every single morning I would wake up and I would open the mail app on my phone and I would see how many emails we'd gotten in response to the video.
Exactly. So it was kind of like we were really using the like refresh button or refresh feature on the mail app, and it would say like downloading like 12 new emails.
Yeah.
And if it said like 12 new emails, then it meant that most likely we got 12 comments on yesterday's video, which was kind of like that was a good video. Like that was like the bar for like, wow, this is like really, really good. But what I always thought was super ironic about this is that me as a consumer of media, I don't tend to like, comment, share anything.
Right.
But it's very frequently the case that I will like take a piece of information and then like discuss it later with my friends. Like I will like walk away from it and be like, oh my gosh, I watched this video earlier and like it was so cool. It was explaining this. I'm going to use an example from this past weekend because I was watching a TikTok first thing on Saturday morning, which was literally just a woman who was a couponer, and she was like, listen, here's how you can get $25 worth of goods at Dollar General for $2. It's today only. Here's what you do. Put these things in your Dollar General app, go to the store, buy these 5 things, go up to the counter. It will be $2 once all the deductions go through. And I was like I sat there and like rewatched it probably like 16 times.
Wow.
And I was like scribbling things down. I downloaded
I'm going to go do it.
I downloaded the Dollar General app. I was like, okay, I'm putting all things in there, like going through and reviewing all of it, which I got to literally the last coupon, which just wasn't available at my store.
Oh no.
So like the whole thing broke down and I couldn't do any of it.
Wait, was it like you can get $25 worth of stuff for $2 as long as it's these $25 worth of things?
Well, so I think at the very least, the very little that I know about the world of like career level couponing is that a lot of the items paired together so that like you could hit this $25 total cost threshold, which would then activate a $5 off your $25 order coupon, which then had like almost like a cascading effect into all of the other coupons to where they then became like that much more functional as well.
Okay.
So it was like a really like there's probably like an algorithm almost of how the coupons worked together to have this like synergistic effect that took it from just being like $5 off a $25 order down to literally being $2 for all these things. And I've never done any of this like level of couponing before. And it was exactly what you would imagine. It was like, if I had done it and it had been successful, I would have walked away with like 6 tubes of toothpaste, like 12 packs of toilet paper, 7 like novelty Snickers bars, like, like Snickers brownie bites or something. So like all of the types of things where it's just, there were specifically coupons for these specific things. And when put all together, you'd have like this really great deal.
Right.
But so anyway, the point is not that, which is couponing, but it's that I am now talking about it on my podcast that people listen to. I'm telling you about it. I told my wife Alice about it. I literally downloaded an app to try to enact the advice that was being given to me by this person. I personally accounted for more than 10 views on this video, did not heart it, did not share it, did not subscribe to the person.
Right.
But it's like, but there it is. It's like this person, and there were hundreds of thousands of views and comments and likes and stuff like that.
Tons of people already watched it.
Tons of people had already watched it. But the fact was, and this is what is always so fascinating to me about the fact that, you know, like we could produce a Super Carlin Brothers video that 100,000 people will watch, but not all 100,000 people will like it.
Right.
Like press the thumbs up button.
Yeah.
Or not all 100,000 people will leave a comment on it or interact with it in some way. Like maybe not even enough to, if they're like a new viewer, actually subscribe to the channel, but just that was a fun video. So see ya. But what's really mind-bending to me about this though is that when I consume media, I am taking a lot in. I am like adding to the database of knowledge that I have in my brain.
Right.
You know, or in this particular case, it was this thing that like maybe it even affected my own personal perception of the store Dollar General. I was actually impacted by like, oh, there's opportunity there for savings.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just so interesting to me that there is the way that I view interactions with the content that I make and measure how I feel about the quality of the product that I made. But then I personally am so unwilling to give the same kind of validation than back.
Yeah.
So what I think is very interesting is that there's got to be some type of like weird like love language thing going on here where like I see all of those things as like words of affirmation. I love words of affirmation.
Right. Yeah. Like your love language is receiving words of affirmation, not giving them.
Right.
In the same way that it's like giving gifts, not receiving them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I would say in the real world that words of affirmation is one of the big ways that I give.
Yeah.
In real life, but I think it's actions of affirmation as it pertains specifically to like social media or media in general.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's like, it's very limited to like this particular environment, but it's the same thing like with for me with like Instagram or Twitter. Like I think I'm way too abundantly aware of the fact that if I like a post, then there is there is like a signaling effect that will then maybe put the post that I liked on people who interact with my page's like discovery page.
Right.
And
like Ben Carlin liked this thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the level of like vulnerability and exposure that I feel from that, even if it's like a video on of like a sawmill, something I'm really into, or like splitting wood or something. It's almost like it's like, ooh, what if I like I don't know if I like want people to know that I liked this. Like I'll enjoy it myself.
Yes.
Like I'm
this I know I have an exact thing to talk about for this because so as you know, I've been trying to get into the Pokemon trading card game here recently.
It's come up.
Yeah, it's come up. So anyway, the local card shop around here is called Blade Gaming, and they are where I'm going to like try and do some play.
Some tourneys.
Just some tourneys, to drop in and wreck some people or whatever.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
look at you.
I they don't have a great. I'm sorry, I don't want to throw it under the bus, Blade, but your website not fantastic. Not like all you need is like a list of upcoming events. That'd be amazing. And then this runs into like a problem Facebook has where. So typically I think what they're using is their Facebook page as like their like main
as their website
more or less, which is fine. And especially if you're like on a desktop, you can like click on events or whatever and just see the full list. Weirdly, if you're on the mobile app of Facebook, I think this is going to trigger some bingo squares that we complain about Facebook, which I haven't done in a while. But if you're on the mobile app of Facebook and I go to the page, you could like scroll over and look for all of the different like tabs you might want to click on for a given page, except events.
This feels I feel like last time this happened, you were like, "There's no way to download all your photos," and then the next day, everybody was like, "There's a way to do it."
No, I mean, I was looking there, like you get like it's so annoying because there's not enough room to display every tab, like groups or friends or things like that. Like you can swipe and scroll over to the rest of them, but events is still not there. So. Like if you want to see an upcoming event, you have to scroll through the page all the way down to where the event was initially posted. And of course, the way they're doing it, like they're just bulk posting the events because everything happens weekly. Right. So they're just like, okay, I'm going to post the next 4 weeks worth of, Pokemon tournaments, and they just post them all right at the same time. They copy and paste. It's the exact same thing every time.
Right.
Right. And then they go and do that for all of the Magic tournaments, and then all the Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. And then all those are just mixed in a complete random with everything else that's being posted on the page. And if you want to see what's coming up this weekend, chances are it was posted 6 weeks ago. So frustrating.
So it makes it very difficult. But to me, that almost says on some level that I could feel like Facebook almost does this maybe like on purpose a little bit, where it's like
would be the worst.
What they want.
It's for you to scroll through.
No, not for you to scroll through, but for the company who is posting the event to then promote the event through some type of like paid advertising.
I see. Like so, it's difficult to see the events.
Right. Like how many this almost goes back to the idea of like the early days of Facebook, you had like a wall.
Yeah.
And so like instead of having like the feed where you can see people posting all of their stuff all the time and always, you literally just had like a landing page that was like your Facebook behind the scenes or whatever, and then you could just type in someone's name and go to their wall where you then saw stuff. And I remember it was very like people I think felt very exposed with Facebook when all of a sudden there was just like a feed that was just like, this is just like so-and-so uploaded the picture. It's like, I don't want people seeing that.
Right. Like, like I felt comfortable like posting something on your wall and then people going to your page and seeing that I'd posted. I didn't want everyone who got on Facebook to be notified that Jonathan Carlin posted on Ben's wall.
Exactly.
Yeah, that felt like. And now I can't even imagine Facebook not like that, but that was the way it was.
It was, yeah.
If you wanted, you could click on like people's wall-to-wall interactions, and that was about as deep as you could get.
Right. But but it makes me wonder a little bit if almost like posting the event as like a business owner to your page, it's like you have to have like the spawning point for this data somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it's like the spawning point is you posted it to your own wall.
Yeah.
Nobody is discovering this event through your wall.
Yeah.
They are discovering it through the feed, which then when you post the event, it will then become like a public piece of information. But again, like you're saying, because it was like 6 weeks ago for something that's coming up on, this Saturday.
Yeah.
You probably aren't committing to this Saturday's tournament 6 weeks ago. You're doing it on Thursday.
Yeah. So exactly. So that's part of the problem. But then, so one of the things going on with these tournaments is that the attendance is low.
Okay.
Because they're not like sanctioned events. They're just like, I guess because of COVID, Pokemon's not having in-person events.
Right.
Not that local card shops can't, but they can't be like promoted.
Sure.
There's not like regular prizes. So it's very local. It's very like, low barrier to entry sort of thing. But there was 2 weeks where I went and like they just didn't have enough people. So they didn't come. So we just couldn't play.
Okay, so
which was a bummer.
So you just got there and there was like you and one other person, and you were like, "Well, I guess we're not doing this."
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what they're like. Yeah, we don't really have enough people. So I, but like the people on the Facebook page are fairly interactive and stuff. So if I see there's an upcoming event and I'm like, and I can actually go, I like to go in and actually click on the Facebook page I'm interested in going.
Right.
So that people are like, oh, someone will be there. That maybe is like, I'm more likely to come now.
Okay.
And, so like, and that I've noticed that works. People normally, if they click they're interested in going, they will be there.
Okay.
And I feel like people have probably had the same experience as me where they show up and no one's there. So then if they look at the Facebook page and it's like zero interest, it's like, I'm not even going to show up.
Sure.
So part of me is like, one, I want to click it so that if other people come and look, they can see at least some people will be there.
Right.
Like that, I feel like helps more people show up. So that's good. But I'm really just doing that for the people who are going to show up. And then also, for whatever reason, I just cannot ever remember whether it starts at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And now it's like one of those things in my brain where it's like, yeah, it starts at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And I can't ever remember.
This is,
you know what I mean?
I mean, this happens all the time, and I'm not going to be able to think of an example, which will frustrate me. But this is like that, like, I know that it's this or this, but I always know that I don't remember which one that
exactly.
it is.
It's like, I know it's one of these two. I also know that I don't know which one of those it is. So anyway, the reason I click I'm interested is one, so that it will add it to my own like upcoming events page. So I can go check it easily.
Right.
So I can remember the time, which I'm so bad at doing. It's 2. And so that if other people are considering going, they will see that other people are interested, because literally a single person can make a difference in whether or not you get to play.
Sure.
So that's what I'm trying to go for. What I am not trying to go for is to have Facebook then publish to the freaking news feed that Jonathan Carlin's interested in going to Pokemon tournament.
The Pokemon tournament, which I have seen.
Exactly. And I'm like, this is not like, obviously I'm talking about it here on the pop, which, and I play Pokemon. Like I'm not like ashamed of it or anything.
No,
but
no,
it's
no,
like,
no.
I don't need that showing up on the news feed and then me getting notifications like your friend liked that you're interested in going to like,
it is it gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like can then somebody in turn also like the fact that somebody else liked that you were interested in attending this event?
And it's because I use Facebook so sparingly, and I wouldn't use it at like, and this is one of the few situations where I'm forced to use this platform.
Yeah.
Because the store is using the platform as their website.
Right.
And so it's like, I don't do anything on Facebook. I don't interact with almost anything. And so if you, not that I think people are really tuned in, but it's just frustrating to me that the only action you'd have seen from me on Facebook months apart is just that, like, oh, is that all Jonathan has going on in his life? Is he's interested in going to a Pokemon card tournament?
Anybody who knows you knows that is not the only thing that's going on in your life.
I know, but
Yes.
this is the other weird thing is that I feel like the people who know me on Facebook aren't the people who know me, which is the other weird thing.
Facebook in a lot of ways is almost just like the stand-in for the need for class reunions, which is kind of like, hey, where are they now? And it's like, so-and-so, I haven't seen you since 2006. What's new? And it's like now you can just literally be like, oh yeah, like that Jonathan Carlin guy. You know what he's doing now? He's going to Pokemon.
It's like Facebook is just a list of people I used to know for the most part.
Right.
It's like I should probably just prune down that list just real tiny. And sometimes I will. People will show up on my newsfeed. I'm like, I have no idea who you are or how we met. And I'll go and look at the mutual friends and it'll be like this mystery. Like, can I solve when I met you at all? And sometimes I'm like, oh yeah. You were we were in a group project or we did that together. Sometimes I will get to the bottom of it and I'm like, I
have no idea.
Did I just accept a stranger here? We have some mutual friends. I don't know. and then I unfriend them.
Nice. Okay, yeah, there you go. Well, that's so one of the things I think that's happened to me with Facebook in particular is this like friend suggestion thing, and most of the time I can catch it and I'm just like, oh, I see. But the difference between a friend suggestion and a friend request, and I think this has come up before, where it's like you have a new friend suggestion, add friend, and it's I think that before I was like, oh, like that, like this person added me. We have 21 mutual friends. Sure.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Like,
they
I'll
didn't
confirm.
request you. It's just Facebook being like, here.
Yes. And so then I have then friend requested people, like probably from their perspective, very out of the blue.
That is, yeah. They're like, I guess Ben Carlin's just creeping on my page all of a sudden.
It's like, I don't know this guy at all. We have 21 mutual friends, but like, you know, I mean, yeah. So that has happened to me before. But the other thing for me, so I took Facebook off my phone probably over a year ago at this point, and which I would say on the whole was just a very, very, very good decision, because for the exact same reason, it's almost like I was constantly finding myself like navigating to the Facebook app, scrolling, refreshing, and just literally looking at these updates from people who I have not spoken to or can't even remember from 10 plus years ago.
Right.
And it's like these are not like, why
is this getting my time?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that it was purely habitual. It was just purely just like, this is what I do when like my brain gets bored. It just knows like the muscle memory. This will frequently even happen here at the office. I will like, you know, have like a blip or like a moment where like we're waiting on something to happen, and I'll open a new tab and type in like Facebook, and it'll pop up, and I'll be like, why did that come to Facebook? Like, I don't need to do anything on Facebook. So I'll close it and then keep sitting there, and then I'll be like, man, I'm bored. Open a tab and type in Facebook again. And I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like, I literally just opened Facebook, realized I had no need to open Facebook, so I closed it, and then opened it again, like purely out of muscle memory.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that is very like almost, you know, upsetting, because it's like it's so wired into my brain to try to get that, you know, like dopamine hit. You know, like I need something interesting to happen. Like, and Facebook will provide that apparently. Is the very almost like learned reaction.
Yeah.
And probably in some ways like that is like the social media addiction at work. But anyway,
sorry. Have you, it sounds like you're not on Facebook very much either, and neither am I, but I noticed at some point Facebook decided to do what I'm going to call like notification creep.
Oh, yes. Oh, like, yeah. I like this. That's a great name.
Yeah.
I know exactly where you're going with it.
Okay. Because like, I remember like when I was like in, you know, college, right, when I got Facebook, you know, the thrill of logging in was to see how many notifications you had.
Exactly.
And it was like, you know, it'd pop up, you know, for me, if it was like above a 5, that was like, oh my gosh, so many people. And
I went viral.
People, it meant, because at the time, it's simply only notifications were only based on people interacting specifically with something you had posted, or like posting directly on your wall or commenting on a picture or something like that.
Right. Yes. So it was basically liked a photo, commented on your post. Yeah. Something of the sort. Something very like someone interacted directly with you.
Yes, exactly. I remember sitting next to one of my friends, and they logged in one day, and I saw their notification number. It was like 73 or something. I was like, oh my, like either you never click the notification tab and it just keeps counting, or you are so much more popular than me that I had no idea.
Right. Yes.
Anyway, not important. If you were to log into Facebook now, I think you could clear the notifications, log out, log back in, and I bet it would say 20 again.
Oh, yeah.
And it would have found 20 new things to tell you about, because it is no longer, like, if you look at them, sometimes it won't have anything to do with you.
Oh,
you know, it could be like, John Carlin commented on so-and-so's photo. Like, that's a notification for me.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't care. Like, why are you telling me? Why are you putting a flag on this that my dad commented on someone I don't know? Like it is terrible. Yeah. And I feel like what they were leaning into was like, people love having tons of notifications. And it was like, it's not anymore.
Well, have you seen the documentary The Social Dilemma?
No.
Okay, so The Social Dilemma goes really into this in a kind of interesting way. And I think that it is maybe not even maybe it is like dramatized to very much like illustrate this particular idea. But the thought basically is that like you've got someone or you've got like all these like little people who are like living inside of the like notification algorithm, and what they're constantly trying to do is figure out like how like what type of notifications will like get you to
interact,
to come back, and so like I think in the documentary they have like this scene where the kid has maybe been like grounded from his phone for like a week, and so like you're literally watching all these like little algorithm people, drivers, whatever, go through and try harder and harder and harder to come up with a notification post that will get him to pick his phone back up. And so like this is where I think it probably goes to an extent that maybe doesn't exist, maybe it does, which would be upsetting in some way, but it would almost be like attempting to figure out like, okay, in the past 6 months he used to interact with this person for this period of time, this many times, a whole bunch, and the idea would be that it was like an ex-girlfriend, and then all of a sudden, like abruptly on like March 23rd, it stopped. And so like what the little algorithm people were doing is basically being like, okay, how about this? Let's send him a notification that person who he used to interact with a bunch liked this guy's photo, And so it's sort of like all of a sudden then what you are being notified of is that your ex-girlfriend has liked a photo of a new guy.
Right.
And with the idea being like, that'll do it. Like, that'll get you back.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's almost what's happening, because I've had a very similar thing happen with Instagram where, despite having like a small, large audience on Instagram of people who follow me, I don't post a lot. And so there are certainly days like, sometimes people will send us like an email and they're like, I bet you get so many emails. And it's like, well, like not so many that like I don't see all of them.
Right.
I still, it's certainly plenty. But it's not like I can't observe all of them.
Right.
But I will certainly have it be the case where I haven't posted anything to Instagram in like 3-4 weeks or whatever. And I will still open my phone, throughout the day. And each time I will open it, it will be like, you have 38 new followers. And it's like, really, since like I opened it like a few hours ago, that seems like a lot for like me not having done anything.
Posted something.
And so like then you go over to the notifications, look at the timestamps, and it's like 3 days ago this person followed you, 4 days ago this person followed you, 1 hour ago this person followed you, and it's like, oh, I see what you did.
Right.
You like one person followed me, but it's much more enticing to say 38 new people followed me.
Right.
So it's like I'll check into that, but then all of a sudden, what did it get you to do? Spend more time on the app.
Right. Now you're there. Now I'm here. I may as well see what's happening.
Right. Yeah. Right. Now I'll go like toggle around a little bit. And so I feel like the illustration of the social dilemma I have started to feel like is much more accurate, because I think because you're exactly right. Like I think that the idea that people like notifications is significant enough that they can notify you to say, this person that you haven't interacted with in 5 years just posted a new photo, or this person just posted a story and it'll disappear in 24 hours. So make sure you check it out before.
Time limit
before that happens. And it's like, so literally it just feels like there are all these little moles almost that are trying to figure out like what will work, like what type of notification will get this person to actually like click through to go check something.
Yeah.
And I think because, we're just living in a world where there's so much data, it can learn you. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Like it can just know, it can know what might work.
Have you in the past month or so has an Instagram ad or a Facebook ad or something like convinced you to purchase?
Oh man. Almost. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like baking as like a hobby.
Yeah.
And actually I say that I like making, macarons.
Oh yeah.
Not to be really pretentious, but I am like in a weird zone with making these things. It's like the French pastry, like the small sandwich cookie thing, like whatever.
Familiar with them. They're delicious.
I know, I'm kind of like over explaining for exposition purposes.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you are unfamiliar with the idea of exposition and somebody explains it to you, and then you start watching TV and movies and recognize what exposition is, it like ruins so much for you, because exposition is the characters explaining something to each other that they don't actually need to explain to each other, because they're actually explaining it to you, the audience.
Well, good exposition, like that's a necessary part of like all storytelling.
Backstories is all exposition.
Right. So like good exposition will feel seamless.
Right.
Where some like, I feel like Loki in particular, the show that just came out, Loki, did a fantastic job of this.
Yeah.
Where like you're in the TVA, you the audience needs to know a lot about how this works, because you're going to have 1,000 questions about time travel, and they just make Loki you. They're like, wait, why? Like, I'm so smart, I've immediately thought of all the loopholes. Why aren't we just doing it all these ways?
Right.
And everyone else is just like, oh, here's the reason. Yeah. And it's like, okay. Yeah, I can see that happening for real, because Loki's a very smart character. He would think of all the answers right away.
Right. So you're not sitting there being like, oh, I see.
We're just wasting time.
Right, yeah. Gotta explain the rules. Gotta like try to close any loopholes immediately.
Do you remember me telling you about the show Puppy Dog Pals?
Yes, I do.
Yes. There is a character on that show literally called Frank Exposition.
You're kidding me.
I am not.
That is actually spectacular.
It is a fantastic.
I love it, because I feel like what that does is it's going to make the idea of recognizing and understanding exposition for kids who are growing up now that much easier to understand, because they're gonna be like, you remember this character from the show that you loved? That's exactly what he did.
Every time he showed up, he was just telling you what was happening.
Right. So anyway, Macaroons versus Macarons. The thing is that I am aware of the fact that it's Macarons. I prefer to call them Macaroons. Like if mom is like, hey, can you bring something? I'll be like, yeah, I'll make macaroons. But it's like one of those weird things where I know that by saying macaroons, I'm technically saying like the coconut
thing that are covered with chocolate.
Yeah, like which is an entire
that macarons and macaroons were going to be two different things.
I have no idea.
Like, it is so frustrating, because I don't think anyone means macaroon. You know, I don't think anyone means the little coconut pastry with the chocolate on top. Everyone means macarons, which are the tiny little sandwich cookies that are multicolored and fun, and that everyone loves. Everyone means that.
Oh, I know. Yeah. But so, yeah, this is the thing though. So like my backstory on it is that a long time ago, I was watching the Great British Bake Off. I absolutely fell in love with it. And I was like, well, I really want to try to like bake something that's like hard. That way I can just like keep at it and then eventually get good at it.
Yeah.
And effectively what happened was I just chose one thing, and I've pretty much never left that lane. So it's like, I really like baking these one things that I have to pronounce in two ways, or say it the correct way and then be like, sorry for being pretentious, but what I mean is macaroons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I ended up going like kind of round and round on it. But long story short though, recently I got an Instagram ad for like this premium KitchenAid mixer. So I already have a KitchenAid mixer.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with those is that you basically buy them once and then never, ever, ever have to get one ever again, because they are like commercial grade machines.
Right. This is what they're using on the cooking or on the Food Network. It's what they're using in your favorite restaurant.
Exactly. But yeah, so I got like hammered with ads for this like super premium, like kind of like a matte white mixer stand with almost like a kind of quilted or diamondish pattern matte black mixing bowl that was like ceramic and like gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And we just finished like our kitchen. So, I mean, it was kind of like, which is all now like white and black and like metallics and stuff. And so I saw this and I was like, I like screenshotted it and I like sent a picture of it to Alice and I was like, can I get this? And I didn't get it because I was like, I have one. This would be silly, but I want it. But I have one, but I want it. So I didn't get it yet. I'm still.
We'll check back in.
I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
As I'm thinking about it now, I want it more.
I feel like
the Instagram algorithm is like in my head and just like showing me like the really perfect image of it. Like, while it's still clean and no flour or like powdered sugar mess has gotten like all adhered to it and such. Oh, it's so perfect. Anyway. That one crept up on me recently. You asked me if Instagram has gotten me with an ad recently, and that brought on a whole tangent. But was there a reason that you asked me that question?
Well, I mean, we were just talking about like Instagram and like the notifications and stuff and how well they know you.
Yes.
But I if you're asking if I purchased something recently, I did.
Oh no, what did you get? What'd you get?
It was, yeah, it's so frustrating how well they can get you sometimes. It's a board game, or I guess tabletop game. I think that's the better phrase. I don't like the word board game as much. That makes me think of like Monopoly or Sorry or things like that.
Yeah, like cardboard games.
Yeah, like cardboard fold out. Yeah, that's not typically what I'm playing these days. Anyway, the game in question was called Tic-Tac-Toe Unicorns versus Dragons.
Can I get it right now?
I know.
Like, add to cart.
I mean, it hit me on like a few levels. One, I love it when they take like it's a fresh spin on a very simple, basic game like Tic-Tac-Toe, because I think the way the game is going to work is that like whatever you initially place your X or your O, or I'm assuming dragon / unicorn in this scenario, there's going to be a lot of like special effects that your opponent can use to force you to move around the board or whatever like that. That's what it seemed like. It also was unicorns and dragons, which I thought was very fun, and it had a very specific kind of like artwork going for it that I think it's like a very trendy kind of artwork for board games going around right now.
Okay.
And I love it. Every time I see it, I'm like, these people, this is exactly the kind. It almost always comes with a specific sense of humor.
Okay.
For some reason, like some people, like the board game makers, the game masters, like they're all in on like, oh yeah, this kind of artwork goes with this kind of humor and this kind of like charming playfulness within the game, and it tends to like drip down all the way through, and I like it a lot. So I was like, and then I looked on the site, and there was not only was it like this fun looking game, but they had like clearly just targeted me straight down, because like the accessory, you can buy like card sleeve accessories for your game, and if you know, okay, they were like, oh yeah, there's like holographics and stuff. I was like, yeah, this is fun, this is cool. I like how seriously you're taking your tic-tac-toe game, and I like that it's called Tic-Tac-KO, because I remember one time in 10th grade biology.
Yeah. I don't remember.
You don't remember 10th grade biology?
Well, I remember my 10th grade biology, but I don't remember yours.
Yeah, probably not. I remember me and my lab partner, we would often have like free time in the class, and we would play a lot of just like, paper doodle games.
Yeah.
Do a lot of like dots, a lot of tic-tac-toe, stuff like that.
Was this the lab partner named Bert?
Yes.
Nailed it. I do remember your 10th grade biology class.
Yes, that was Bert.
I'm proud of myself right now.
Not her real name, shorthand.
Yes.
But anyway, I remember we were both just like, it was like this moment of like, I don't know, like divine intervention, where we were both just like, can we figure out tic-tac-toe right now? Like all of it. Like, can we just solve tic-tac-toe?
Like you mean, because tic-tac-toe basically with two people who are reasonably savvy should be a draw every single time.
It should be.
Or is there a surefire way to win?
There's not a surefire way to win. If you go second, you have basically no chance.
Okay.
You need to go first. That's for sure. But yeah, it was just like it was like we were like, okay, let's figure it out. And in like 2 minutes, like we had it.
Okay.
The whole game solved, and I still remember all of it today. And you'd be surprised how many people you can beat at tic-tac-toe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So like because that's the other thing too, is that like tic-tac-toe is so simple that you probably underestimate it enough to not really feel the need to have strategy.
Exactly.
It's like, the person who goes first always goes in the middle, at least, I think.
There are two strategies that will force a victory for you. And if you go through the center, you're almost not going to. If you go through the center and the other person goes on a corner, you've already drawn. If you go in the center and the other person goes on one of like the
plus
shape, yeah, like a cardinal spot, you've got them.
Okay,
they're doomed. They're doomed. Otherwise, if you start in the corner, this is how you get people. Ready? You start in the corner. Second place will always take the center because it'd be stupid not to.
You'd be silly.
And then this is really what throws them off. You go on the diagonal across from the one. Like if you started in bottom left, they go to the center. You go to the top right, and they're going to be like, "That was the stupidest move ever." Right? What you want them to do then is go in either of the other corners, because then when you block, you immediately win. Right? Now, because what's going to happen is if they go in one of the cardinal spots, then you're in a cat situation.
Okay.
But if you...
Which is a draw.
Which is a draw. That's what it's a draw in Tic-Tac-Toe is called, is a cat.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you know all the vernacular for Tic-Tac-Toe.
Is it because it's tacked backwards?
Probably. I never thought about that.
Interesting.
Someone just like, yeah, it's called a cat. I'm like, okay. But yeah, so if you go you go bottom left, they go to the center. You go top right. If they go a corner, you'll have to block, which will create 2 win conditions for you, and then they can't block both of them, and you'll win.
Wow.
Yeah, fantastic.
Wow. This is what made growing up with you miserable.
See, but you have to go on the one opposite, because if you go to the one of the other corners, then they'll immediately go to block you, and then you're back in the cat situation.
I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to leave the door open to let themselves be tricked.
Absolutely. I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yep.
This is why I also will not play Tic-Tac-Toe with you.
Oh,
I mean, I feel like, I'm sure you have this for rock, paper, scissors as well. It feels likely to me that you have a way to game rock, paper, scissors.
Well, the way to game rock, paper, scissors.
Do you actually know?
Well, rock, paper, scissors is very good, very random things, but there are like strategies to win. And basically what you want to play is the thing that would have just beaten you. Like, because the first one is always going to be completely random unless you play against that person a lot and can just like memorize what they start with most of the time.
Does anybody start with the same thing in rock, paper, scissors, like as a rule? I'm a paper guy.
Probably.
Weird.
Like,
okay.
You probably don't think about it, but you like. I think the way I think about it is that when I was a kid, rock, paper, scissors, almost everyone threw rock because that's the cool one.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would then always throw paper as a kid, and that would help a lot.
Okay.
As you grow up, everyone realizes rock's the cool one, and that everyone throws rocks. And then people started throwing paper to start, so I switched to scissors as my lead.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, and that worked for a while. As an adult, everyone's sort of on the same page, and it's completely random again. It isn't helpful.
Got it.
But anything, I'm pretty sure you want the strategy comes in when you throw the same thing out of the gate.
Okay.
So like you throw paper, I throw paper, then like what you would have just beaten is what you want to throw. Because you threw paper, so your opponent is going to throw scissors because they think that's going to beat paper. So you should throw rock. So whatever you would have beaten is what you should throw next.
Infuriating.
There you go. That'll help you in your rock, paper, scissors.
These are the simplest games known to man.
That's why they're so well.
Right, but like it's like the fact that like even in the simplest game you have thought about it this strategically. I feel like transcends into games that are highly complicated, where you, who is someone who is just intelligent anyway.
Yeah. Well, here, I'll tell you the other win condition for Tic-Tac-Toe then.
Oh my gosh.
Ready?
Okay.
This is when you go first and you take the center, which everyone expects you to do. If they take the corner, again, you're screwed. It's a cat. If they take one of the cardinal spots, then you just want to take basically, I think you want to take, let me think. You want to take the corner next to them.
Okay.
Because then they'll have to block you diagonally and they won't have anything set up. And then you can take the corner across and you'll make like a, what's the word? You'll have like top left, middle, bottom left. And in that scenario, you can win in top right or left middle. You're
a very weird kind of jock.
This is how you win at Tic-Tac-Toe.
Okay.
You have to go first.
Yeah. We're going to get a whole bunch of reviews now where people are going to be like, love this podcast. Tic-Tac-Toe has never been the same.
Yeah, I've been crushing my friends since. The thing to know is if you go second, all you're trying to do is not lose. So you just want to make sure you go in a corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So for all those people out there who have a child with them at the restaurant that you're going to sometime in the next month who will get the paper menu and a pack of 3 crayons, you are now set.
You're set.
I would be willing to bet that 76% of all games of Tic-Tac-Toe are played in crayon in restaurants.
You think so?
I would say it's...
Or I would say most of my Tic-Tac-Toeing was done on like post the quiz is over and the person next to you finished their quiz as well, and now you have to be quiet.
Yeah, it's a quality 13.
Yeah,
it's 13%.
13%. Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah.
But I mean, nowhere near crayon levels. I mean, let's be real. Let's be real.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Anyway, back to Instagram ads.
Back to Instagram ads.
Because
Tic-Tac-Toe, Dragons vs. Unicorns. I'll tell you about it when it comes in the mail.
Sounds good. And maybe you can talk about it for whatever week that is for that Peaks Wix.
Oh, maybe.
Because I wrote this down as this week's pick for me. Picks week.
This week's pick.
This week's pick.
But this Peaks Wick is
this
what you
Peaks
meant.
Wick.
Yeah.
Yes, that is what I meant. Okay, we got there eventually. So we about what month are we in? September.
Yeah.
So when is it? Okay, so I am finding myself in a very, very, very nice sweet spot in terms of outdoor weather at the moment that I'm very pleased about.
Yeah.
And this is that going back to last December, I had a pergola built in my backyard.
Yeah.
So that like around my concrete pad that I poured.
Oh, the concrete pad.
The concrete pad.
You meant a concrete pad. I remember.
I did.
Remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Early days of the pop.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So this came in winter, and so it was much, much, much too cold to actually go out and like use it properly to do like fire pits and hanging out with friends and stuff like that, which is something that I absolutely love to do. So for the most part, just had not done much of that. And then we had a particularly rainy spring and a particularly hot summer. So for the most part, I have had this thing for almost 10 months and have really, really not been able to like go out and like use it to like its fullest. But so this past weekend I got to go out there and like I have my little mobile fire pit, which is what I want to talk about, which is called a solo stove.
Yeah, I've got one.
Yeah. So it's like a stainless steel drum.
Yeah, it's what's inside your dryer.
It's what's inside your dryer.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And like this is one of those Instagram ads that once upon a time I think hit me and I was like, no way. Someone like perfected the fire pit. How absolutely amazing is that? And so like I have been basically a solo stove like spokesperson, not really, but like since then, like
hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored. But this is like one of my favorite gifts. Like if somebody like buys a house or something like that I like to like send them, or like a wedding gift or something like that. Because they're very functional, very usable.
Yeah.
They're extremely durable and people like to have, outdoor campfires and stuff like that. So, I'm like all in on these things, but yeah, like this was the thing where I was like, I cannot believe someone perfected the fire pit, like this has literally been around for like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. There have been fires,
yes,
and fire pits and like rock circles or holes or, like whatever, just a giant pile of brush.
Yeah.
And so these people came up with this thing. And I'm like, wow, how incredible. And I'm like, how do people even do this? And then that was the thing. One of my friends one day texted me and they were like, hey, have you ever heard of making a dryer drum fire pit? And I was like, no, I have no idea. What is that? And so I looked up a dryer drum, and I swear, if you look up a dryer drum and compare it to a solo stove, it is the exact same thing.
It's the exact same thing.
It is like shocking how similar in design these two different random objects are.
My guess is that whoever invented solo stove, quote unquote, was just ahead of the curve on dryer drum fire pits.
It absolutely, I mean, you're not wrong. Like that absolutely has to be the case. Like this was somebody who was like, yeah, I was taking apart my like old broken dryer to try to fix it. Couldn't do it. No big deal. But then I was kind of like, hey, I can maybe make a fire in this thing. It's got like air holes and stuff. So it'll be like, still fueled, but it's like a metal container. So how great. And so that is, it has to be what happened.
It has to
be. And I am like so enormously like fascinated by this like coincidence that I need like a spokesperson from Solo Stove to like contact me.
Someone realized that not only was this a functional fire pit, but that its nature, like the way it's designed, just like happens to magically like keep the smoke away from steel, like sends it straight up. Yeah. And they were like, you know what? We can probably go directly to the manufacturer because we're just buying a part of a dryer.
Right.
And we can buy that part cheap because it doesn't have any of the associated technology. We'll just rebrand it as a fire pit, put some fancy marketing on it, mark it up, business. Like if that's not what happened, I don't know.
Same.
Yeah.
Like if there is some otherworldly coincidence where someone else literally stumbled upon the exact like design of a dryer drum and made it into a fire pit, and then after the fact somebody was like, wow, it looks a lot like a dryer drum, and then like that's just spawned from there. I will be shocked, but that would be like such a like the chicken came before the egg type of situation,
right?
And oh man, it'd be just completely baffling. So on the whole, my wick of the peak basically is I still love solo subs, so I feel like they're great. They actually do work.
Yeah,
they're really neat, and I got to use it and enjoy my pergola like to its fullest because we had like a mild night.
Yeah,
because the best weather for a fire pit is like it's like rarefied air, man.
You don't
like it's because it can be, if it's like 30 degrees outside, it's almost like it's like too cold. It's like people don't like really want to go sit outside in 30-degree weather and mostly be cold but also be near a fire. Like
you're totally right.
And then but then if it's like 80, 85, 90 degrees outside, you also really don't want to be near a fire. So you got to like find that sweet spot.
Yeah, I think I could do fire pits through most of the summer as well. Like once the sun goes down, I'm like, I don't really care. Okay. I would do it, but apparently we haven't done any fire pits all summer, so it's not really a thing that's been on my radar. But you're right. This very weekend, I could not believe it. Like Beth and I were outside. We were like, it was like all of a sudden we just like smelled it. And I was like, is it fire pit weather? Are we there? And then like we had friends come over last night. They were like, you guys, didn't we? I think we came over in the spring. You guys did fire pit. We were like, we were just saying. It's fire pit weather. Now it's like 3 times. It's like something in the air literally changed in the last 2 days.
And it's fire pit weather.
And it is fire pit weather.
Yes.
It is there. So couple things. One, Wick of the Peak for myself.
Yeah.
I saw that was on there. Mine is less Huga, I suppose.
Sure. I mean,
more of a traditional media thing you could just go watch.
Okay. Well, lay it on me.
Well, currently what Beth and I are watching is on Hulu, and it is a show called 9 Perfect Strangers.
Ooh, yeah. It's like a weirdly star-studded.
It is very, it's got Nicole Kidman, I would say, as the lead. It's got Melissa McCarthy. It's got Luke Evans. Lots of really high quality talent.
Let me ask you this, because like Melissa McCarthy is one of those actresses that I quite like. Yeah. Like I think that she's like very funny, but I feel like there's this weird, I would almost say like Zach Galifianakis has had a very similar treatment where they end up playing kind of the same character just about every single time.
Yeah.
Which is basically Alan from The Hangover.
Yeah.
Just like over and over and over again.
Right.
And Melissa McCarthy in anything.
Yeah. She's just playing Melissa McCarthy.
She is.
Yeah. I would say she's playing less of that traditional role. Like, I mean, of course, she's still funny.
Okay.
For sure. But the character has a lot more like depth and a little bit more like things going wrong in her life that she's trying to work through and stuff. But the premise of the show is that these 9 strangers, as the title suggests, and I wouldn't call them perfect strangers. 3 of them are related, like husband, wife, and daughter. So they all know each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, not the most perfect title, but they're all being they've all been selected to attend this 10-day relaxation retreat that is being run by Nicole Kidman, who is this very unusual character. And you can't tell if she's just sort of like whimsical because it's like relaxation and she's super spiritual. She seems to have like a very weird past where she used to be like high powered professional. Now she's turned like relaxation person.
Okay.
So there's like a weird mystery there, and then you're just sort of learning the backstory about the characters, and like you're wondering why were they chosen and like what's happening at this retreat. Like why do people keep leaving? Like I'm a whole new person. You're like, I don't know. So we're only about 4 episodes in. I would say it is a little heavy at times. I will warn you. Probably not like a kids show, not like my Wick of the Peak last time with Bluey.
Nice, yeah,
but if you're interested. If it was made, I think, by the same people who did Big Little Lies on HBO.
Okay.
Which Nicole Kidman was also in, and was based on a book from the same author who wrote 9 Perfect Strangers. So a lot of similarities.
It's all coming together.
It's all coming together right there. But if you need a good pick, need a good wick. Sorry. Speaking of wicks, Ben.
Hey, lay it on me.
Something really fun has happened. This candle that's been sitting between us for like many episodes now.
This very one. I bet it's 10 plus candles.
10 plus weeks.
10 plus weeks.
Yeah. It burns. every week between us. And what you guys might not know at home is that this is one of our Carlin Brothers candles, available over at carlinbrotherscoffee.com.
Yeah.
And inside the candle is a magical charm.
There is. Which I have actually resisted looking at what is in there.
Okay. Well, we have finally reached the point where the wicks, do you see the tie-in?
I see it. Very clever.
The wicks have burned all the way down. The wax is clear, and the charm should be visible in the candle. Do you want to take a look now that you've resisted for so long?
Hang on, I'm gonna take a look. I can see it.
Can you see it?
I can see it down there. I don't want to reach in and grab it though, because I feel
it's gonna be hot.
For fear of wax burns.
For fear of wax burn. What is it?
It's a broomstick.
It's a broomstick. So exciting.
It's pretty cool.
It's like every single week I'm like, are we there yet? Have we gotten to the charm?
This is like the weirdest and funniest thing about the fact that we started doing these candles with Carla Bliss Coffee is I think that like when we came up with the idea, we were like, oh, it's going to be so much fun. And it is so much fun. Like, even being the person who's, like, producing the things.
Yeah, to be clear, we have all of the charms.
But we did them. We have a complete set. And yet, I will tell you that it doesn't take away from the fun ever as they're burning down. To be like, what's it going to be this time? Yeah. So that is ridiculously fun, but very exciting that we got a little broomstick there in our lemon sherbet candle.
Look, this is going to be so perfect. It's so perfect that it's a broomstick, and not only that we're talking about fire pits and fire pit weather, but I'm gonna switch candles on us now that we've burned down.
What?
I know. I have. Wouldn't you know it? Broomstick handle candle.
Broomstick handle candle?
On the fly, on the ready. We've been burning this one as well, so it won't take as long to get to the charm at the bottom of this one, which it'd be so funny if it was another broomstick, because this one's called Broomstick, but this is the fall scented candle. And now that we're in fire pit weather,
we may as well.
I feel like we may as well switch out of lemon sherbet, which is more of a summer.
Right.
And summer.
While the folks at home can't smell the candle, I like to think that the candle itself is still kind of affecting their listening experience.
Yeah.
You know, like
boom.
Like somehow, some way, the candle scent itself is inspiring a style and mode of conversation from us.
Yeah.
That now has shifted. And I can feel the shift.
You can feel the shift. You can smell the shift.
You can smell it in the air. It's like something about the room just changed. And therefore, so might the mood of the pop.
So might the well, another thing that comes with fire pit season is the return of football.
It's true.
It's true. Which I don't know. Maybe this is a conversation to have off the pop, but you're typically the commissioner of our fantasy league.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to say that we forgot to have a draft or anything. Yeah. But Beth keeps asking me if we're going to do it. And
football has already started.
Look, you can do it post week 1.
What?
I know you can do it. It can happen.
This is like one of those things where it's like I forgot to do the homework and I just assumed I got a 0 on the assignment, and now you're telling me that like there's a chance I still have to do the homework.
Yeah, they're like, no, well, you can't get a 10 out of 10, but you can still get an 8 out of 10. That's better than a 0.
It feels like at this point all I can get is a 50 out of 10, which is half.
I
mean, 50 out of 100.
50 out of 10. That's an amazing. I got all the extra credit.
Who knew? This is like one of those weird things where it's like I am someone who like eases myself into like football season, and I feel like whenever football season starts, I'm always like, I'm kind of over it. I don't feel like I'm going to get into it this year. And then by the end of it, I'm like, I love football season. This is the most fun thing ever. But so the problem with me being the commissioner is, for one, I was told by several of the people who have been in our league in previous years that they were getting an email like every single day saying like, don't forget to remind your commissioner, like week 1's coming up.
Yeah.
As the commissioner, I did not get these emails.
That is okay. I was surprised because I was going to say like, I got a bunch of emails from Yahoo, which is I think being held up by fantasy football at this point, telling me that get ready, do some drafts or something, prepare,
do something,
yeah.
Well, okay, so maybe I'll find a way to get around to doing this.
If it's on, if you want to put it on your list, I think we'd all appreciate it.
Yeah, all of us here.
Not all of us here, all of us in the league, Ben.
Oh,
that isn't even what I really wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Number 1, the Washington football team back back in action.
Are they still just the Washington football team?
Well, they're still just, of course, they're going to keep that name at least through the end of the season.
Oh, okay.
And in very traditional Washington football fashion,
they lost heroically.
They just lost in week 1. And there's always, they lost to the Los Angeles Chargers, and they're like, LA has had this history of they lost so many one-possession games last year. Like every game was so close, and it was like you could tell they were a really good team. They were just losing just so close every game. And wouldn't you know it was a one-possession game, and they won.
This is just how it works.
This is how Washington goes. On the other hand, I'm only bringing this up because we talked before about how the Virginia Tech Hokies, it seems like they're always on the wrong end of the stick themselves, whether they thrive with the underdog advantage and they like suffer with the overdog advantage,
right?
What should be the favorite. But so far, I just for the little colonels at home who are not like following, no,
you're gonna jinx it.
Virginia Tech football, which I'm sure is like one of you because you're all so tuned in. But thus far, the Hokies have won their first game as an underdog against a top 10 ranked opponent.
Okay.
Fantastic. And they have won their second game as the overdog against some cupcake school that I don't even know. I can't even remember their name at this point. I didn't even watch it. I was like, if we lose this game, I don't even want to have watched it.
Can I even tell you how happy it would make me if a football team literally changed their mascot to be the Cupcakes?
To the Cupcakes.
In fact, I'm officially lobbying for the Washington football team to become the Washington Cupcakes.
The Washington Cupcakes.
Like someone just needs to like pull the trigger on going for like, instead of like, kind of like a fierce type of mascot, just plain like, adorable.
Just don't go aggressive at all. Just lean into the cheese.
Here's
you
our
could even be the cheese.
You could be, well, I mean, it feels like the Packers are almost the cheese.
What I don't know what a Packer is supposed to be. I cannot tell you how happy, and I think how net positive for the entire world it would be if the Green Bay Packers renamed themselves to the Green Bay Cheese, which, let's face it, all the fans just dress that way anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it is inexplicable to me. And I assume this is my headcanon that Packers literally refers to cheese packing.
Could be. I have no idea.
That's what they mean. But it's like, what do you do for a living? Well, I pack cheese.
Yeah.
So it's like this is like what we do here. So like we'll be the Packers. And
this is
like,
gonna be
or the cheese.
I can't wait for the burnt popcorn where Jordan is like, Packers is definitely already about cheese.
Oh, maybe it is. Yeah,
I have no idea.
We'll discover. So I think the Washington Cupcakes.
Yeah,
and their mascot, Sprinkles.
Sprinkles, like the name, or just like a bottle of Sprinkles. Is it the cupcake named Sprinkles?
It's a cupcake named Sprinkles.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's exactly it. And it's making me like, I need it now.
Yeah.
I need this to be a thing. I need a team that is in need of a mascot, and I will become your biggest fan, and I will buy all of the cupcake team cupcake merchandise. In fact, if I do end up having a fantasy football team.
Oh, that's gonna be your team name is the Cupcakes?
The Cupcakes.
Wow, not like the Macaroons or something. Maybe we've had like a theme to the names before.
We have had a name. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
A
name to the themes. Is that what you were gonna say?
Something like that. Anyway, I like this plan though. I like this plan. Someone out there who maybe it could be although it wouldn't really be fitting if our mascot here at the Pop was a cupcake. It doesn't really feel like that fits the vibe.
No, I mean, it'd be weird for it not to be like a duck or a coyote or like a horse or a spirit bear.
But hear me out. Cupcakes.
Cupcake. Yeah.
There's something about the word cupcakes that like just can't be fierce.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is what I love about it.
It's a really clever name because there's no bad win-loss situation, right? Like if you lose, the other team, what are they going to say? Oh, we beat the Cupcakes. Like, yeah, of course you did. They're the Cupcakes.
Right. And who wants the headline like the Green Bay Packers crushed the Cupcakes last week? It's like, wow.
You're trapped.
Yeah.
Even other teams' wins sound like losses. On the other hand, if you win, total victory.
Right.
Cupcakes smash the Packers, oh, they couldn't even beat what a terrible team. They couldn't beat the Cupcakes. Oh, this is a win-win. You can't lose if you're the Cupcakes.
I feel like it could just change the entire scope of football and who like, you know, kind of buys into it. If all the teams, instead of having these like fierce mascots, if they all had just adorable little things.
Right. Yeah, that'd be I'm into it. We should rename all the NFL teams.
Yes, we should.
This sounds like a fun episode of the soda pop.
Yeah,
it sounds like a fun soda pop where we rename the NFL teams with way better mascots.
Right. Okay. So if you guys have any contributions for a way to take these would be like my ground rules for it. So the Washington Cupcakes can be whatever they want to be because they currently don't have a name to work off of.
Yeah.
So it's wide open. But I would say for every other team, you have to sort of attempt to play off of either the current theme, but turn it into the adorable version of it.
The current like theme as like what their present mascot is, or just like of the surrounding area of the city.
Well, so like I'm thinking like, okay, like Seattle, like they're like the Seahawks, right? So like if you wanted to like keep in that vein of like the name ish, and I'll be loosey goosey with this, but like if they were the Seahorses.
Right. Oh, I see. I see.
Like the Seattle Seahorses.
Right. So you could go from like Broncos to like unicorns or something.
Oh, you absolutely. This is a fantastic.
Should.
Like pronto stat, please.
Pronto Bronco. Yeah. Almost rhymed.
Goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, you are on fire right now.
Oh, thanks, man. Not unlike these candles available at CarlinBrothersCoffee.com.
Wow. What a plug. What a plug. Okay, so let me shift gears. There's one last topic that I want to discover or discuss today before we close out. You were just cracking yourself up.
Oh man.
Case the fit of the giggles. Okay, so here I'm going to call this the greeting conundrum.
Okay.
And I'm curious about it because this particular conversation was inspired by an email from Michael Bruxfort. So Michael, thank you for writing in. But there were a couple of different thoughts that I had about greetings, and he asked me the question specifically about how much do you think the word that you choose for the greeting actually inspires or sets the tone for the conversation.
Tremendously.
Tremendously, right. Yeah. So this definitely takes me back to like the AOL Instant Messenger days because like it almost felt like there were pre-established rules as to like what was the friendly greeting versus like neutral greeting versus kind of like I'm kind of miffed at you, but I'm still expecting to but we're going to talk. And so like, for example, if you just said like, hey, it was just sort of like I'm just starting conversation. Let's see if we discuss something.
Yeah.
But like, you know, hey or hello or anything like with exclamation points where like, I'm very excited to talk to you.
Exactly.
Like, finally we get to talk after this whole day. But then there was hi.
Oh,
like, especially a lowercase hi.
Lowercase hi. Now, how would you interpret that?
Negatively.
As like they're mad at you?
I would assume, especially, okay, as for I would say if the conversation is initiated with a hi, then to me that would almost certainly tell me that this person is upset with me and they're trying to signal to me right away, like hi, like we're about to talk, you know. But especially if I were to be like, hey, and they wrote back with a hi, I usually interpreted that as like either do not continue conversation or ask what's wrong as the next sentence. So like I saw hi as like real negative.
To me, yeah, this was hi for sure is a signaler of bad emotions in some capacity. To me, it was like if people said, like if you were choosing between like hey or hello or howdy or aloha or something, you know, that was very intentional. But to me, hi was like the end result of like their like being upset. Like they weren't even choosing it. They were just like reflecting their mood into it. It wasn't like I'll say hi to this person. So I almost always met hi with what's wrong. And like people would like sometimes be like, man, I can't believe you could tell something was wrong just by that. And I was just like as if I was like really tuned into this friendship or something. It's like they're not even aware that they're communicating this negatively. It's like this is the manifestation of their feeling, and it's just like naturally has taken the form of hi.
And that's a really, really interesting way to say it. Like, yeah, like it's because I felt, to me, this was the type of thing that developed over time, and I basically knew like what hi, hi was like code for inside of the context of like the pre-established terms of AOL Instant Messenger. Like enough time had gone on to like where it's like I kind of know what this means.
Yeah.
But it had to start somehow. Like it had to be the case that people realized. Like the reason that I know this to be the case is because it eventually became determined.
That's the thing. Like nowadays, if you were to like say it, I think it would feel much more intentional.
Right.
Like people are aware that hi means like ugh. But like I think early on it was like it wasn't like a choice as much of like communicating upsettedness.
Right.
It was just that this is what people were saying when they were upset.
This was yeah, it was like such
because it was what people said when they were upset, it became a way to communicate that you were upset.
Right. Yeah. So, but like what's interesting to me about this, and part of the reason that I wanted to bring up greetings is that like all of the greetings that I wrote down, which were hey, hi, hello, and howdy, all start with the letter H.
Oh yeah.
And so like on top of sort of, yeah, like maybe these like emotional undertones, I was kind of like, is there anything about the letter H that fits so like that fits so purposefully into how we communicate with one another as like a good go-to letter for like this starts. Like H is the start of a conversation.
My guess is that it all stems from hello.
Okay, so that was going to be like my next question, because like I know someone explained to me one day that like howdy is basically like shorthand for like how do you do?
Oh,
you know, like
howdy.
Yeah, like it's almost like you're taking like how do you do, and it's like howdy, you know, and it's like it is both the greeting and kind of like a question.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Which is kind of funny because I use howdy constantly. Like, I don't know when I picked this up, but I would say for the past like 9 years of my life, like if I passed you on the street or something, like hey, or well, wow, that's a terrible example. Freudian slip. I would probably say howdy, or like howdy guys. Yeah, like that one definitely comes up.
Nice,
a lot. But so yeah, my question from there though was, did we start with hello as like this is a word you can use to greet people, and then literally everything else is just slang?
It very well could be the case. It is where they all start with the letter H. I can see hello being like hey hello or something like that, turning into hey.
Hey, oh I see. Like, hey hello. Okay.
Hello there.
Yeah.
Like
so
that.
So maybe like with a little bit of like a southern.
Yeah.
Like was hey, did hey come from the South? Like halo. Yeah. Okay. Reasonable.
Something like that.
Now I need to know more of the etymology, basically though. Like which greeting came first? Because then I was like, okay, like let me think in Spanish, which is hola, which starts with the O sound, but it also
still with an H.
It still literally has an H. And then you gave the example of aloha, which is like the Hawaiian word for
but that's the AH.
Yeah, it is AH.
Hola.
Right. Yeah. So it's like there's definitely like a very prominent H presence.
Yeah.
So are there greeting words that don't have greetings?
Well, sometimes that's what I'll say. I'll just be like greetings.
Yeah, you do say that.
Yeah,
that's funny. I never noticed that.
Yeah,
it's a G, which like, is near H in the alphabet. Yeah, so like, I mean, not to say that they're like related, but G and H are buddies. If it's not going to be H, it would be G or I.
Yeah,
is there an I greeting?
Let's see. Not off the top of my head that I could think of.
Igloo.
Why is igloo the word you thought of?
I don't know.
That's the most prominent I word.
The most prominent I word. Yeah. I couldn't think of any other I word, so I came to igloo.
That's like one of those. That's like a Billy on the street that like say a woman's name. Say a woman's name. Right, like, how about, I can't think of Betty.
Betty came to mind.
Yeah,
for
Betty.
Me.
Yeah, there you go.
Why.
Yeah.
But
mine was Helen, which starts with the H.
It does. H's. They're everywhere.
Maybe like H is like just your brain's like.
Right.
It's like, oh, I don't know. H.
Well, so okay. Here's the funny thing too. So last week, I don't even remember what I chose this word for, but I was like trying to reach for a word to mean something, and I think I said spacklegroit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really know where that came from. Like that was just sort of like me. Like I was just trying to find something funny sounding in my head, and I came up with spacklegroit.
Oh.
And I like literally like was not basing it off of the Harry Potter like known wizarding infection called like
spattergroit,
which 100% is where my mind got it from, and it just like it was like I'll reshape it a little bit since you need it in a hurry.
Well, this explains a lot, because I immediately recognized that you had just changed Spattergroit some.
Yeah, no, I didn't in my head.
Okay.
It was like, it literally wasn't until I had dinner with Ethan, the editor, and he was talking to me about this exact thing, and he's like, "Hey, you just like randomly chose," or yeah. So he pointed it out to me, and I was like, "That is what happened."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow." And so what happened to me though in this particular instance is I had a flashback to a particular moment that happened years ago in a relationship that I was in, but I had like this sense of humor that I thought was my own, and then I like rewatched the TV show Scrubs with the girl that I was dating, and I was like, I am not original at all.
All of these jokes came from there.
All of these jokes came from the TV show Scrubs, and it was like I didn't even know that. Like I did not even know that I was quoting this TV show, but like I was like clearly.
Yeah.
Like these things absolutely come from the show, like word for word.
Yeah, like verbatim, delivery, tone.
Yes, everything to do with it. And it's like, I mean, it was like one of these things where I was like, oh my God, like, am I not funny? Like, do I have any original like humor in my brain? Because like, and am I not crediting people properly? Am I like, so
Yeah.
I don't know where Igloo came from, but probably something.
Probably something.
What would it be?
TikTok, like, right? What's no, it's iceberg, penguin. Never mind. Forget it.
Almost
there.
Anyway,
That's what I thought of.
My query question would be, are there things that you have out there that you either know that you like have just become like a part of your everyday vernacular as like I saw this once and now I say it all the time, and now it's just like it's like part of who I am. Like I've adopted it.
Okay, this is gonna sound so stupid, but if you're around me enough, you'll know that I like to like add a bunch of suffixes on just the end of random words.
Give me an example.
Like I'll add ing-ton onto the end of a lot of things.
Oh, okay. So like at the beginning of every episode, in order to have an image for the thumbnail of like an episode of Popcorn Culture.
Great example.
Like we will always like basically move the microphones aside, and we will like make faces at the camera and just like hold them still so that we can have like a very clear image of our face that we can then crop out to put into the image that we put on YouTube. But whenever we do this, we just tell Ethan, the editor, it's like, oh, we're going to do thumbnailingtons.
Yeah. Here's one for the thumbnailingtons. Yeah,
right. Which now Ethan, the editor, has now like picked up, and every single week when he sends us our entire selection of thumbnailingtons, he's like, thumbnailingtons.
Yes. So it's becoming part of the vernacular there. And I was trying to think of a list of these the other day that like I think I'll add like Zilla or Zard or Ida like just onto the ends of lots. I do this a lot, and I've started picking up that I was doing it. I'm like, whatever. But I was like trying to source back to it, and it sounds so silly. And I want to know, like at one point I was using the word swell like to describe things, like that's just swell or something.
Yeah.
And I want to know what the source of that is, because I feel like that feels like I'm sourcing it from somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know who said swell somewhere along the way. And one day it's going to click something into place. But I would say swell, and then like I started trying to like the food dish beef Wellington.
Yes.
I was mixing those two words into beef Swellington, and that is the source of like all of the suffixes that come out of everywhere else.
That is the funniest thing ever.
So when you hear me add ington, the source material is beef Wellington.
Beef Swellington.
Beef Swellington.
Wow.
So if you were to describe something as beef Swellington, that'd be like really good.
Like that is
beef Swellington.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Okay, so I have one for you, because this is one where I know that I say it a lot, and I'm like I've been like too afraid to ask. You know, like it's like it's kind of like when you don't know someone's name, and it's like time has gone on for too long. I should have known by now. So like I can't ask. But there is something that I say a lot, which is shoot dang, or shoot darn.
Shoot darn.
Yeah, like I'm like,
shoot darn.
Shoot dang.
Yeah.
And it's sort of just like an explanation, an exclamation to just sort of like oh man. Like, you know, or like it can be like a kind of
Like a positive thing sometimes.
A positive thing, yeah.
Like well, shoot darn, we just sold a thing for a lot of money, or
Sure, yeah. Did that happen?
I was thinking of like maybe a reaction to like a Pokemon card selling on eBay.
Shoot dang.
Shoot dang.
Okay, so anyway though, so between Alice and I, her sister Samantha, and my now brother-in-law Mike, we all say it. Like, and it's like one of these things where it's like, I don't know if I picked it up from them or if they picked it up from me or we picked it up from the same place.
Yeah.
And it's like, so now, like, whenever like Mike and I are around each other, I'm like, who is quoting who here? Or is it at this point where it's just like, it's what is it, public domain?
Yeah.
You know, it's available for all, which it is for what it's worth.
Anyone can say shoot dang.
Anybody can say shoot dang.
Yeah.
I want to give free access if it's even mine to give.
If it's yours to give.
Chances are it came from something, and I'm forgetting what it came from. And here I am thinking it's adding to my colorful personality, and instead it's not.
Wow.
I'm just a great big stealer.
We're all just a big amalgam of all the things we experience. So,
Well, that's really kind of a special way to say things.
Oh.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of The Pop. We do appreciate it just so very much.
Yeah, hopefully it was just beef Swellington for you.
Yes. Grade A beef Swellington.
Grade A.
If you would like to show your support of The Pop in some way, depending on where you're listening to this, you could like it. You could leave a comment. You could leave a review.
Yeah.
Which we might then read here on the show.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a great way to help us out. So, like, is there any way that I can reach out to those of you who are like, you know what? I'm never the type of person. I am like Ben Carlin, and I don't leave my mark on anything that I consume. I understand, and I get you, and I hear you. But is there any way that I can get through to you today?
To do it,
like a bigger ask,
go in there,
like a more, we're like eye to eye right now. Like I get you, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
but like this, and so I'll be curious to know if like maybe this yields like more interactions, less because people are like, you know what, like I like to leave my mark, but not today.
Not today. Now that you said it,
I'm out. I'm gonna go walk my dog.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's that. Otherwise, guys, if you have any feedback for us, you can email it to popcornculturepod@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to support us on Patreon, you can do so by heading to patreon.com/popcornculture. Otherwise, until next week,
pop.